Beautiful.
So if everything goes well and this bloke gets picked, and I'm not going to go through every single milestone, but we'll start with some milestones now. But if he plays, Tanner Bruin plays his 50th game, AFL game, I should say, in round 1 versus St Kilda. I imagine he'll get picked. He's an absolute star. He's going to take it to another level this year. He should go pretty well. Do you guys have high hopes for him for this year? You think he's going to take another step in his career? I'll start with Johnny, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. You can tell he's really starting to gel into this team really well, and I feel like the same as you. He's going to take another step this year, being another year at the Cats. Then expect about a year for young guys to really start finding their feet at a new club. So I reckon this year he'll really step it up and become a key cog of this team.
Jake, I'll ask you another one, not about Tanner Bruin, but another. I'm going to pull up a graphic here too, Jake. Another, not as fancy as the airport lounge ones, but bloke in the middle there. Round 3 versus Hawthorn. He's due to play his 350th AFL game, Mr. Tom Hawkins. Hello, Tom, if you're watching. How good? How good is that going to be? And will they get 100,000 at that game? Surely, 350 games, Cats versus Hawks.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that there's no player between the two clubs more loved by both sets of fans than Tom Hawkins. Hawthorn fans very fond memories of Tom Hawkins. Yeah, absolutely. No, I think that what a massive achievement to think back. I was watching some old 2007 games the other day on YouTube, and I think it might have been the Melbourne game when Hawkey debuted, and he was such an unformed sort of player. He was just a big lad and with a lot of potential. And then you fast forward to what he was like in 2022 on the biggest stage of all. And it's funny to think, Hawkey has been one of Geelong's most reliable grand final performers. He contributed some pretty valuable things in the game against St Kilda. Likewise, 2011 was it third quarter where he destroyed Ben Reid. And then 2022, underrated. You could say, he could be in the mix as Geelong's best grand final player of the dynasty. If you put all, 3, he's only played in the 3 flags, obviously. But he's done all right every time. So massively excited for him. Obviously, round 3 should be an easy putt to get that one done and locked in early in the season.
If he misses a game between round 3, misses round 1 or 2, and he doesn't play it against Hawthorn, I'll be devastated. I'll be absolutely devastated. Yep. And Paul, just checking you're okay in the background there. The flies or the mozzies getting to you. You're okay.
They're just hanging around. Can we get the winter weather to set in, please?
not too far away, I'm told. The other thing that might spoil the party for Tom Hawkins is some guy might take a bit of shine off him. Oldie Henry's due to play his 50th that same game as well. So hopefully he takes a back seat. Just lets it make all about. We don't want to get the double chair off, do we? No. Tommy Hawkins. Can anyone lift him? That's the thing. Maybe these other two blokes on the screen here, Mark Blitzarves and Jeremy Cameron. Now Blitz is due to play his 250th game the following week in round 4 against the Doggies. I'm going to say he is my favourite player at the footy club, apart from Phoenix, clearly. But no, we absolutely love Mark Blitzarves, and he's probably one of those players that the AFL world hasn't really appreciated enough and is now starting to see what he offers. I'd give my arm and leg for that bloke. I just absolutely love him.
He's a gem. Can do it
Johnny,
all.
Yeah. Do you think he will go down as one of the Geelong greats? Am I getting a little carried away here, Johnny? Pull me up if I am. He's a premiership player. He probably played 300 games for the Cats. Maybe he'll win 2 premierships. Who knows? But he's it's a tricky one to sort of pigeonhole him somewhere, isn't it?
It is, but it's not difficult to put him in as a Geelong great. I mean, he's won best and fairest. He's got All-Australian, pretty sure. Yeah, he got an All-Australian last year twice.
2 best and fairest, yeah.
2 best and fairest. Yeah, he's just an absolute champion player. And the Cats wouldn't be the same without him because he can do anything and everything. And as you said, no one really takes notice of him that much outside of the Cats. you're starting to see it now in the commentaries a bit more that they're talking more about him. But who would have thought a steeplechaser could become such a absolute fantastic footy player? And it just
No,
goes
no
to
one
show,
thought that.
and just goes to show that AFL can be played by any other player, any other athlete in the world.
And don't forget, he was finished when they banned the third man up rule for the ruck contest. Everyone said he's done. He's got no strings to his bow after that. He's
They
finished.
changed the game because of him.
That's right. That's right.
Yep. And he proved them all wrong yet again.
Johnny, if is this the game though? The Blitz halves 250 game round 4. Is this where we're going to see the double chair? Because Reece Stanley also plays his 200th as well. So, assuming they both play every game to start the year, but can we say that I love a double chair? I love a double chair off. Is it going to happen, John?
Yeah, I think it will happen. I think it will happen definitely for 200 and 250. You got to give him a bit of a chair off. It will.
Yeah, Jake. I know you're you're probably Reece Stanley's biggest fan so far this preseason. Tell me a little bit about his preseason, what you hope for him for this year, and maybe where he sits in the pecking order with Toby Conway.
Just going to chime in here. It would have been great if Stanley's 200th was against St Kilda, and he could take his premiership medallion and go off the ground with the medallion around his shoulders.
Terrific.
You nasty man.
I think the AFL needs more WWE sort of chicanery, I reckon. So, speaking of the double chair, mate, Stanley, no topic has aligned me and the YouTube viewers more than our shared love of Reece Stanley. I think that Stanley, up and down preseason for me. I think he gets all 4 games to start the season. I think he gets 200. After that, I think it's an adventure as he and Conway go head to head to win the starting ruck job. I don't really think that you have both of them in the one side.
No.
Personally, I don't think there's room for that. Stanley probably has a higher floor than Conway, but Conway's got the much higher ceiling. The variance in his game is just a lot larger at the moment. So, I don't know. I think after round 4, it'll become a real head-to-head race.
It'll be interesting to see if he does play it in round. I mean, I've just penciled in based on how many games he's up to now and if he plays the first 4 rounds. Sure. But it may be that him and Toby sort of share. Toby might make a debut in the first month of the season anyway. So we'll wait and see on that one. And maybe we won't see the double chair. We might see a triple chair, though, possibly. We might get... Well, imagine if Hawkins and Blitzarves and Stanley and Cameron, who's due in round 5, Cameron due in round 5 to play 250 games. And I might throw to you, Paul. Can we see a quadruple chair? Is that unprecedented in the world of the AFL?
Unprecedented. It'd be cool to see it, but at the same time, that tells me then that Hawk and Blitzarves and Stanley have all gotten injured somewhere in that time, and that doesn't bode well for our win-loss ratio. So I think I'll happily sacrifice the quadruple chair in favour of a few wins on the board and another chase at the premiership. But I mean, look, obviously incredible effort by Cameron, starting crew at the GWS Giants, and it was only his second year where he suddenly kicked like 60 odd goals. It was a crazy explosive kind of first 24 months for him. And since then, he's never really looked back. Kind of had some downers through the COVID years. That he really struggled with the circumstances. Didn't seem to lower his price when the time came for us to pick him up. But anyway, he's an absolute jet, and obviously has potential other milestones coming up in terms of goals scored over the course of the season as well. So he's a ripper. Hopefully he can kind of find his kicking boots again, because he wasn't kicking them straight towards the end of the season last year, and it looked a bit wobbly during the game against the Bombers as well. So hopefully he can just he might just need the occasion to kind of get himself up and about. But and I'll just throw one little comment in there from Tanner Bruin before. We were talking about the steps he needs to take.
Yes.
How many steps do you need to take to reach to the top of the podium on Brownlow night? Because that's the number of steps.
Oh, you've gone early with your prediction. He's gone very early.
No. That is not my Brownlow pick, but I like the theatre around it.
You should be able to tell us how many steps, Paul. You're a math teacher, aren't you?
I haven't counted it. I haven't looked at it. They crop it out of the shot. How high is that thing? Just like four will do.
All right, Jake. Now, all right, so let's just play along with me for a little bit. We've got the quadruple chair.
Sure.
But Tommy Hawkins, not only is he playing his 350th, he's absolutely kicked a bag of goals early in the year, and he brings up his 800th goal in the same game. He's due to kick, based on his averages and so forth, I reckon he'll probably kick it in around 6 this year. Can you imagine that as well? 800 goals. Are we going to storm the field? When was that against Brisbane? It's probably up there, isn't it? That'd be crazy. Is that a possibility? And what odds for that? Unbelievable. Regardless of whether he does it the same night, it's crazy. 800 goals.
800 goals is insane. And, as it's often said on Cat's Twitter, like, many people think that Hawkins probably would have kicked 1,000 if he wasn't so generous. Like, he gives off so many goals, that he could have been one of those 1,000 goal kickers. But to do that, it might have been sacrificing a premiership medal or two. You know what I mean? Like that team-focused approach that he has. I'm sure whether it's 820 that he ends his career with, or 790, I think it's all immaterial to him. Beside all those medals that he has hanging somewhere precious at home, no doubt. Like, yeah, it's massive. 800 goals is just it's staggering. And it's, I think, one of the King brothers, might end up kicking 800 behinds. But Tommy's definitely set the benchmark with the 800 goals.
Johnny,
dig ahead around one.
Let's stay on Tom Hawkins still, because it is quickly becoming the Tom Hawkins show. And Paul, yes. I know you're excited about this as well, but Tom Hawkins is very, very likely, injuries aside, going to take over. Joel Selwood is the most capped Geelong cat of all time, probably in round 9 if he plays every week. That's probably going to bring a tear to my eye when that happens. And I'm sure the Cats, if it's a home game, I'm sure the Cats will do it really well in terms of the theatre around it. But what do you think, mate? How are you going to feel? It's a bit disappointing that Joel Selwood's already lost that title within a year or two of retiring, but it's good either way, I suppose.
Yeah, it's always good to records there be broken. It'll be a bit of a mixed emotion day, I guess, but I don't think Joel Selwood's going to be too caring about losing that. I think
to his best mate.
Best mate.
And you're right, it is at home. We play the Power in Geelong.
So it's going to be a big day for Tom Hawkins, Joel Selwood, the whole club, and it's pretty fitting that Tom Hawkins will take the game's record holder off Joel Selwood. I mean, who else would we want other than Hawkins?
It'd be perfect, wouldn't it, if that happened? Just the two of them
Jai
together.
Clark in about 15 years.
True. He's got to stay on for more than a quarter though, Jake. So we'll see how we go.
That's true.
There's a bunch of other milestones, but we won't rattle through them all. I might post them on the socials, so maybe keep your eye on that over the next few days. And Cam Guthrie was due to play his 250th, but we'll wait and see on that one now, I suppose.